Hello, IELTS Energy listeners. We have an honorable guest today, and actually, he's here
Yeah,
for the second time. Adelino, welcome to
yeah. Thank you
IELTS
so
Energy.
much. Thank you so much for having me.
Um, you know what, guys? I'll be honest with all of you listening. I had forgotten that Adelino was on here, but it was like years ago. So let's get into this.
Okay,
Adelino, you have taken IELTS twice,
twice. Yeah,
correct?
that's correct. That's correct. Twice.
Okay,
This is
so
my second.
the
That
first
was the
time you
second time.
took
Yeah.
IELTS.
Well, that happened,
All
I
right, so
guess, in
when did you take
2021.
IELTS?
2021, if I'm not wrong,
Okay,
because I had to go through the registration process to become a teacher in New Zealand, and one of the first steps that I had to take was to get myself a English certification in order for them to process
yeah,
my documents. So that was the first thing that I did. Well, I got my
okay,
papers reviewed by the Immigration New Zealand, so they assessed my documents, and after that they asked me to get a English certificate, which is the IELTS that is required by them.
okay. And tell me about the first time you prepared for IELTS. Like,
That was
did
messy.
you prepare for a long time or
It,
what?
yeah, I started the process to become a teacher in New Zealand back in 2019. So that was 5 years ago. And I
Oh,
started
wow.
it at the end of the year, at the end
Okay.
of 2019, and we were struck by the pandemic right away. So all the exams were put on a hold, and I didn't
Yeah.
have the chance to go through an exam up
Oh, man.
to 2021, I guess. That's when I was able to take the exam. So I
Oh my
was
gosh.
preparing myself for quite a substantial amount of time. So it was a lengthy process, but I was really stressed with all everything that was happening with the pandemic. I didn't know if I would have the chance to go to New Zealand
Yeah.
because we were not assured of anything back then.
Yeah.
There were a lot of doubts, a lot of questions. People were stressed
Yeah.
like I've never
Totally.
seen before.
Yeah.
So I kind of held this opportunity,
Yeah.
but it was almost a shattered dream. I didn't know if I would get the chance to go to New Zealand. And then everything started
Oh my
to
gosh. I
open
can
again,
imagine.
and I went back and started studying. And the first
Mhm.
time I took it, I did the 6 day plans. I guess 60 days plan. Yeah, yeah. And this time I only
Okay.
had like 25 days to prepare for everything. So I took the first time
Okay.
and
All
I
right.
got
So,
an 8.
um,
Yeah,
okay. So yeah, just a review for our listeners. So this
yeah,
was a while ago, right? Like 3 or 4 years ago. Um and Adelino took our 3 keys IELTS course, allearsenglish.com/KEYS, prepared for 60 days. So you
yeah.
prepared for a long time.
Long
You
time.
got that 8 on your first try.
Yeah,
Awesome. So you're into the life that you want, right? To be a teacher in New
exactly.
Zealand. So
Exactly.
fast forward to now, right?
Yes.
Well, 2024 was when you took the exam again.
Yeah.
Why did you have to take the exam again?
Yeah, because first time I took it because I needed to get the teacher's registration process started. So after that, I had to go
Mhm.
to New Zealand. I had to spend almost a year going through a lengthy course there. So I spent 2 months there teaching. Then I came back to Brazil. I went through all the paperwork that I had to do, all the reports and everything else. All the because it was a lengthy course. Then I finished and I realized that my IELTS had just expired in March 2024.
Yeah.
But I didn't expect them to ask for another IELTS because I was like pretty safe that okay I have already gotten my registration, so yeah, that's it. But
Yeah.
when I
No,
when
that is
I when I
surprising.
got the job offer from a New Zealand school, they and I decided to apply for the residency visa. Then they asked
Yeah.
for an IELTS exam again. But I
Of
was like, come on,
course.
I'm
Okay.
registered as a teacher there. Why would you ask me another IELTS exam? So yeah, you need one, and you also need one English certification for your wife. My wife went through TOEFL because she was already preparing for that. She got the grade that she
Okay.
needed, and I had like 25 days to prepare everything again because it's not only about your English skills. It's also about the skills you have to
Yeah.
take that exam because you have to be prepared
Sure.
for the
Yeah.
exam. It's not only about you can have all the qualifications that you need, but you're not ready to
Yeah.
go through that exam, and you can mess everything up. Uh, so
No,
so
totally. So,
I had to relearn
Adelino,
how to take the
yeah.
exam.
When you realized you had to take the exam again,
Yeah.
um, what made you decide to go through 3 Keys IELTS again?
Well, I took it for the first time and it was great. I was like, I remember first time I went to check for my grade and I was like, oh my God, I don't know if I'm going to get that seven because I needed at least seven at every single aspect of the exam. And when I
Yeah.
opened and I saw Nate there, I was like crying. I was so happy because
Oh.
I'm the kind of person that I never trust myself enough, and I'm all constantly doubting my skills. And I don't know if that is positive or negative. There are positive and negative aspects to it because you push yourself
You know what?
a mile
Let
further.
me sorry,
Yeah,
let me interrupt you just for a second because I think a lot of listeners also experience that.
yeah,
And I think it's a positive characteristic. There are
yeah,
downsides because
of
we
course.
have more anxiety because we're
Yeah,
worried, but here's the positive thing, guys. If you also experience this, like you take an exam or you go to a job interview or you do anything where the result is uncertain, afterwards you're anxious. You're like, "Oh my gosh, I did not do that well. I don't know." I think that's because we do prepare so much,
yeah,
and it's really hard to work so hard and then be unsure. And I
yeah,
think it's a feature of being like a hard worker, really, and wanting to succeed so much. We're going to have that doubt, and that's what motivates us. So, guys, if you're doubting yourself right now, I use it as motivation. I think
yeah,
it could be
100%.
a positive thing. Um, okay, so continue, Adelino.
So yeah, and but this time because of the timeline that I had, I had a very short frame for me to fit myself because I was going to apply for a visa. I needed an answer from New Zealand immigration in a period of not more than 45 days because the year is going to start right now. So if it
Yeah,
took me too long to go through the process, I could lose the opportunity to secure that position. So I only had like
right.
25 days to go through everything, and I delved myself into it. I pushed myself as much as possible, and yeah, the results were pretty positive because I managed to secure that same grade that I had like 2 years ago. I know that I could do
Amazing.
much better if I had but I didn't have much time because I'm still working. I'm still doing all the things
Yeah,
that I'm you know. Uh, used to do. I have my house, I have the chores, I have my wife, I have my,
sure.
you know. So life continues, and you have to keep your activities in your studying plan within the time that you have. And
So let me ask you about some strategies here
yeah,
because I think a lot of listeners also are busy adults, right?
yeah, yeah, pretty
Houses,
much.
families, work, all of it.
Yeah,
So how did you manage to prepare in only 25 days? What are some secret tips you have for us?
I think that the most important here is not about only the days that you put yourself that you commit yourself to do, because when you're studying a second language, it's something that you do for your life, for the rest of your life. If,
Mhm.
if you're not living in a
Yeah.
place where people are constantly using that, you have to be committed to practice daily. So English
Yeah.
is part of my life because I've chosen to. English is in my movies, the books that I read, the apps on my cell phone. So English is part
I
of my
love it.
daily life.
That's
Podcasts,
such great
movies,
advice.
and yeah, there's no way, and I like to say this because I also I'm also a Spanish student and Italian student. I like to say if you're trying to learn a second or a third or fourth language, you have to understand
Yeah,
that you were not born in that society that speaks that language, so you have to
totally.
commit yourself. It's if you don't put yourself, if you don't immerse yourself in that situation, you're going to lose
Yeah,
it.
yeah,
So, of course, having the opportunity to go through a strategy like the 3 key IELTS, which is great, and it's great because it cuts a lot of the difficulties that you might encounter. So it's a shortcut that helps you to get to exactly what you have to do. The tips are there. You just have to follow those tips. First time I
awesome.
sent you an essay, it came back with such a low grade, and what is wrong? I asked to myself. What was wrong was that I was trying to do things my way, and I was too,
Yeah,
I don't know, proud of myself of the way I write or the things I have in my mind. But no, it's not about your ability to process information. It's about the way
right.
you write, and you girls know how to do it. So people just have to
It's
follow
about
your tips. It's just that
yeah.
simple as baking a cake. If you
It's
follow
yeah.
the recipe, there's no way you're going to mess it. Of course, there's also a cake that can go wrong, but do your best by following the recipe because the recipe is already there and it's guaranteed success.
Thank you for saying that. Yeah, that's such a great metaphor for our essay templates, right? It's just a recipe and you
Not
just
only the
follow it. I
essay,
love
the
that.
listening, the reading,
So
everything.
besides like immersing yourself in English as much as possible, as we've talked about, that's not enough. You also need the essay templates. You need to
Yeah,
know what IELTS wants from
yeah.
you, right? Being confident about your great English is not enough. You have to know
No,
what kind of English, what
confidence can be
ways
very
to think
detrimental to
that
you.
IELTS wants.
Confidence can be
So
very detrimental.
how did you manage to fit in the extra like test practice, the extra time in 3 keys IELTS? Like besides watching movies, besides doing the fun stuff in English, you also have to like dig
Yeah,
into the course and the test
yeah.
practice and strategies. So, how did you manage to fit that into your schedule?
My schedule was like coming back from work and only study.
Okay.
Weekends only study. And I know that for
Wow.
some people it can be stressful. I understand that. But
Sure.
if that's your only option, there's no way you can like what are you going to do? You're going to fight with reality, like do whatever you yeah. What can you do? You only
Yeah.
have your free hours to devote yourself to study. That's it. I didn't
And
have
it's
weekends. I didn't have
yeah.
3 hours throughout the month of October, and that was it. That's
And keep in mind that, like, this is a finite period, right? It's
yes,
not like
yes,
you have to
absolutely.
devote all of your extra
Yeah,
time for the next 5 years, you know?
yeah,
If it's, like, 25 days like Adelino, or maybe you follow our 60-day plan, it's, like, 1 or 2 months of your entire life,
yeah.
right?
And
This is,
the
like,
outcome is
just
so nice. Like when you get the results that you're expecting, or even more, like you feel so good and you feel proud of yourself. And that is there's nothing that can feel more satisfaction than feeling proud of you. That is the most satisfying
yeah.
thing that you can feel about you because you feel that your effort was worth it. So yeah.
Yeah, completely, completely, Adelino. Okay, Adelino, if you can choose just one test tip or one test strategy from the 3 Keys IELTS course that really helped you, just as like our final takeaway today, what is like one test strategy you think everyone needs to know?
So for me, it's like pay attention to all types of essays that you have. The essay
Okay.
that I encountered was the rarest. Like that essay that is said, oh, this is so rare that that was the one that was on my exam.
The what was it?
Yeah, the one with the map and everything. Like I had to describe a map
Oh,
of the
the task
buildings,
1
and
maps.
yeah,
Oh, those are the
and it
worst.
was like, yeah, it's the worst. But I at least I took the time to write one essay with that characteristic, and
Yeah,
that was very important because I
cool.
did all the course. I took all the course tips and I put them into practice, so I was prepared somehow, and that helped a lot. So
Nice.
never say, oh, this is rare, it's not going to be there. Oh, lucky me, that was the essay that I found it. But yeah,
So funny.
thankfully everything went fine.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, we do include everything in Three Keys IELTS, even the questions like maps or the mixed task 2 essay questions that are rare but do happen. You
Yeah,
have to be prepared for everything. All right, guys. So if you want to be prepared for everything, just like Adelino, whether you have 25 days or 2 months, check out Three Keys IELTS, allearsenglish.com/KEYS. All right, Adelino, it was so nice to have you back on the
yeah,
show.
second time. I hope this is the last one.
You won't have to take IELTS
No,
again,
no, no.
dude.
Now I have
Definitely
a
not. You're
residency.
done.
I managed to secure the residency visa, so I'm moving to New Zealand on January 18th. So yeah, new life.
Ah, that's 2 days after my birthday.
Oh, that's
How
nice.
exciting.
Yeah, yeah.
All right, Adelino. Well, good luck with your move. It's coming up super soon, and I'm really excited for you. And thank you so much for taking the time to talk to us today.
Thank you so much for having me again.
All right. See ya. Good luck with the
See ya.
move. Bye.
Bye bye.